Welcome back to another episode of Grove City Hockey Podcast presents Talking My. I'm your host, Ben W. Stott, with my tag team partner, Collin Corbett. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. We're talking about episode 3, Detroit #1, Taylor Sports Complex.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
What a fun weekend that was, huh, bud?
Yeah, it was my first weekend at a broadcast, so that was exciting. I was glad, and no better setting than Taylor. So,
yeah.
Hey.
Did you guys have a big bowl or a big spool of cable you had to unwind?
No, we didn't have to do that. That problem is resolved, and that was a mess. I feel like can't really tell that story. So what happened to us the one time we went to broadcast there was, we got to have a direct line into the internet, and Carl, because it's his home rink, hands us this mess of Ethernet cable, and it took 3 of us probably a good hour to untangle that thing.
Are you sure? No, that was more than an hour, but because I remember watching you guys struggle for at least 45 minutes before I said, you know what, I got to take over because this is killing me.
Yeah. A little behind the scenes thing that happens to us. But anyways, it was great. I mean, I didn't get to be there for Saturday, unfortunately. We did have we sponsored a charity golf outing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I went.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, it was a golf outing. I want to say Charlie for Pups. I want to say it was called. I could be butchering that.
Welcome to my world.
But yeah, I could be butchering that. But it was just a cool little charity golf outing that the boys do even before I joined the broadcast. All the donations and everything goes towards puppies and everything. So it was great. They actually had puppies there, and I wanted to steal all of them.
What kind of pups did they have?
They had tree hounds. I can't remember the exact name, but they're hound dogs.
Yeah,
they were cute. They were so cute. I wanted them. The one I was playing with, and he picked me, and I just wanted to take him home.
Right, they're always cute, and then they grow up.
Nah, they're still adorable. I love dogs, though. That's just me.
They really are. They really are adorable.
We're
going to take a quick second to shout outs to our sponsors, and we'll be right back after these.
Hey guys, you know what time it is. Back to school and back to hockey. Visit Epic Hockey online to check out the newest and greatest in the hockey industry. They've got custom sticks, custom gloves, and oh yeah, they're all at a great price. Make sure you visit them on their social media and their website to find out all about this new cutting-edge company. Visit them at epichockey.com. Epic Hockey, a proud sponsor of Grove City Hockey.
All right, welcome back to Talking My with Grove City Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, with my tag team partner, Collin Corbett. How we doing, brother?
Doing good. Correction on what the golf outing was called, just so I can get it right. It was Charlie and Friends' 4th annual golf scramble.
Ooh, Charlie and Friends' 4th annual golf scramble.
Yep. And
that sounds like a mouthful.
Yeah, that's probably why I couldn't remember it for a second. I was close. I remembered the first part.
Right? Hey, that's all that matters. It's Charlie and his pups.
Charlie and pups. I don't know. Charlie and Friends. But either way. But, no, it was a good time. But anyways, We're here to talk hockey.
Cool. We are. We're here to talk Detroit action #1 for the season. I think they have, 3 or 4 tournaments this year in Detroit?
I want to say. I think it's kind of split up. It's split up a little bit between Taylor and Fraser.
Yep. So this one happened to be at the Taylor Sportsplex. So we had some T4A division and we had some T4B division. After Saturday's results, you saw the #1 seed, the Buffalo Herd, taking on the number 2 seed, Motown Knights, and Chicago Triple P taking on the Motor City Knights in the other half of the bracket, both 1 and 2 seeds there. So yeah, and then in the T4B division, which is like the 3 and 4 on down, you saw the Bulldogs, or AKA Detroit High Nooners, taking on the Chicago Damage, and then the Lansing Street Sharks had another bye, just kind of like the Chicago Hitmen did, going into their finals.
Yep.
So, and how that plays out is that they were able to be ahead of the 4th seed Chicago team, but they were ahead of both the Detroit High Nooners and the Chicago Damage, so they were able to squeak out in their pool division as the number 3 seed. So that was pretty cool. Then we got the T3A action. We had the Columbus Heat, number 1 seed as well, with Nasher. Yeah. Broadcasting some of his GoPro stuff there. They took on the number 2 seed, the Lansing Street Sharks. And on the other side, you saw the Great Lakes Growlers taking on the top 2nd seed Top Shelf Hockey.
Mm-hmm. Which Growlers and Heat both had dominating performances Saturday, both just winning out the day.
Yep. So in T3B action, we had in the semifinals the number 4 seed Healthy Scratch Hockey Club taking on the number 3 seed Lockport Armada, where the 5th seed Motor City Magic took on the number 3 seed Detroit Fuel. So how were those semifinal games? Were they pretty good?
They were great. They were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't really a bad game. I mean, Mercy's on the day for sure. We'll talk about it later when the championship games ended in Mercy. I know Pittsburgh Shockwave, they didn't have the best outing this week for their first week. I think a couple of their games, actually both days ended in the Mercy. But I mean, it was all. I mean, there was a lot of just really close, hard-fought games though at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like it. Like a couple of the semifinal games were real close. Even the finals, 3 out of the 4 were close games. Mm-hmm. The one was just an absolute annihilation. I will say that, and that one actually surprised me. But we'll see if they can continue that destruction, because I was impressed.
Yes,
and it takes a lot to really go. Oh, they just put the whole division on notice. Are
we talking about the Growlers?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was just But yeah, so let's start out with the first semifinals in the T4B division. So we had that would have been the Bulldogs, or Detroit High Nooners, taking on the Chicago Damage.
I'm pretty sure it's not Bulldogs.
No, well, that's why I said Detroit High Nooners.
Yeah. Well, I know it's on there, but this team has some of the coolest jerseys.
Yeah.
So I think I talked to him about it a little bit actually.
Okay.
Because I was taking pictures for that game, and I just asked him, like, so you guys the Bulldog or the High Nooners? Because your jerseys clearly say High Nooners, and well, there's a reason why. Because their jerseys are all decked out in the High Noon Drinks colors. I'm surprised they're not sponsored by them. They should be. The jerseys look amazing, and none of them have their last names on the back. It all says Sen Noons. Sen Noons.
That is amazing.
Oh, they're the best. Oh, they're the best. I love their jerseys.
And I believe they're the ones that have majority of the team is all women, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a first for my high, I believe. Is like,
I think they had.
They had a couple guys on the
3.
team.
I think they had like 3.
Yeah.
And dude, we'll talk about it as we talk about the game. Those girls ain't scared of nothing. They ain't scared of nothing.
No, because they did not do well on Saturday. I'll tell you that right now. But then they came back on Sunday and said, you know what, we're going to put you guys on notice. They ended up with the number 3 seed because they were over the number 4th seed Chicago Damage and ended up playing the Chicago Damage in their semifinal game, so to speak, in their T4B division. So you had the Chicago Damage taking on the Detroit High Nooners. And after one, the High Nooners decided to, finally wake up and put some points on the board because it was 3-1.
Dominating performance. Performance. They had some of the crispest passing plays. One of their players, Kush, she is good. She is really good. She was fun.
She put you on notice, huh?
Oh man, they were just a fun team to watch. I expect big things out of this club. I really do. I think once they kind of figure out some things and start getting some more shots on net, because what we'll talk about in their later game, they really just couldn't find the net in like their later game. But in this game, they were on it. They were on it.
Right.
And their goalie was great. Cassandra Payan, I believe. Yeah, Cassandra Payan's their goalie. She had some huge saves.
That's good. It'd be nice to see some more women get out there and play in my hot and say, hey, you know what, boys? Just because you think you can play doesn't mean you can play with us girls.
Well, the thing that's great about them, and what I thought would be a benefit, because they're fast skaters and they're a little smaller, they draw penalties like nothing. We'll talk more about, we'll talk a little more about that in their second game, but because of how they play and how aggressive they are on the puck, they draw penalties really, really well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so then, like I said earlier, it was 3-1 after one, and then it was 4-2 after two, and then the High Nooners said, you know what, we're going to close the door. They scored 3 more in that third period, and the Chicago Damage could only answer with 1. Mm-hmm. So the final of that was 7-3 in favor of the Detroit High Nooners. So they would advance to the finals, and they would take on the Lansing Street Sharks.
Yep. And that's like kind of what I was talking about with like their second game. I really think they had some nice I mean, Lansing is Lansing though, and even their T4 team they're just a team to watch out for. They're Sharks. I mean, they really are. They're just Sharks. That's like the best way. Yeah. They fit their name. They're predators, man.
They just go out there and they just eat.
Yeah.
So in the T4A division bracket, you had the Buffalo Herd taking on the Motown Knights.
The first period, I can tell you, was a lot of back and forth. They just were trading, honestly.
Yeah.
They were just trading. It was, I think, if I remember right, back and forth, but Motown ended up taking the lead 2-1. And then, story of the freaking night, Herd comes back, ties it up 2-2. Then Motown, they take the lead again, 3-2. It was just crazy back and forth, because then Herd answered back, 3-3. Oh my God, dude, you're just on the edge of your seats, because then I think Motown scores again, it's 4-3, ties it up. Then we go
because after one, it was tied at 4.
Yep, that's it.
And then in the second period, you saw the Motown Knights take a 2-goal advantage going into the third period. And then the Buffalo Herd said, you know what? We're going to see your 2-goal advantage, and we're going to make it 0-goal. Mm-hmm. So it was straight up tied 6-6, and then we had to go into overtime. This is one of my favorites to watch. So let's see who scored the final goal, because it was Um, the Buffalo Herd scored with 2 minutes to go in the game. So you had stop clock situation going in for that final 2 minutes, and then it looks like there was 3 minutes and 28 seconds left to go in that. Was a 5-minute overtime, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes and shootout.
Yeah, so like a minute 32 into the.
It was quick.
In overtime, yeah. The Motown Knights said, you know what, Damon Wilson's gonna carry the team and send them to the ship. So, and that's what he did.
Yeah, but he did, and like I said, great game. I mean, both teams, you gotta walk away happy knowing you fought hard. Like,
right?
Motown didn't give up.
And then you had the Motor City Knights taking on the Chicago Triple P, or the formerly known as the Chicago McDanks.
Yep.
So
we couldn't find out. We couldn't find out what the triple P meant. We asked, and they said it's whatever you want it to mean. So
that could be any number of things now.
Yeah, but good outing, good team, really good team. Chicago Triple P. This is my first time seeing them. I think it's their first time in the league. I think they're one of the brand new guys coming in. Fun team to watch. Defensively, crazy, man. They will lay their body down.
Right. So after one, Chicago Triple P had a 3-1 advantage in the second period. They added 2 more goals to make it to 5-1, and in the third, it was Motor City Knights answered back with 1 goal, but it just wasn't enough to overcome that early onslaught that they suffered in that first period against Chicago Triple P.
Yeah,
So Chicago Triple P ended up with a 5-2 win over the Motor City Knights.
Yeah, and like I said, Triple P were just on it defensively. I mean, they just would not be denied in that first period, and they kind of just kept the gas rolling after that. I remember in the second period just seeing a beautiful diving block shot by Diaz, number 72 on their team. And they all did it. They all amazing back checking, just never let up. It was just Triple P all day, just
nice.
the whole game.
So then we move on to the T3B division. So we've got the Healthy Scratch Hockey Club taking on the Lockport Armada. Healthy Scratch was the number 4 seed. Lockport was the number 3 seed. And that Healthy Scratch Club, they were really solid last year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they just didn't have the full team this weekend.
I don't know.
Did they have a deep bench? Do you remember, or do you recall?
I don't remember being a small bench.
Well, that's always good. But yeah, so after one between these two teams, it was the Lockport Armada taking a 1-goal lead over Healthy Scratch. Then in the second period, Armada decided to chalk in 2 more to make it 3-0 after 2. And then the final stanza was another 2-goal added on to make it 5-1 because Healthy Scratch finally scored one right there at the end. It looks like, but that was a penalty-filled game. In the second period, though, there was a lot of hooking, chipping, holding minors. So the Lockport Armada after 2 was 3-0, and then in the final stanza, you saw Lockport add 2 more, where Healthy Scratch finally chalked in 1. For the final of that game was 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, Armada just looked like they just came to play. That's just how that game worked. I just don't think Healthy could just figure it out, unfortunately.
So we had the Motor City Magic, which was the 5th seed. They had a poor showing on Saturday.
There we go.
But they decided to turn it around. They were up 2-1 over the Detroit Fuel. And then after the second period, it was 3-1 or 3-2. Sorry, 3-2 in favor of the Detroit Fuel. And for whatever reason, after the final whistle was blown, it was tied up at 4s. So we went into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the game winner happen just 3 minutes into the game with Chris Greco. He must have had a little tic-tac-toe with Spencer Morrison.
Well, it's Morrison, man. Morrison's always all over the score sheet.
He really is, man. Yeah, he really is. Like I remember looking at the stats in the stand. I was just like, that Morrison, he's always in there.
No, if he's out there on the rink, he's getting goals, he's getting points. He's just a phenomenal player to watch, to be honest. And honestly, though, the real story of that game, Fuel and Magic, was goaltending. By far. I mean, in the first period, Fuel's goaltender, even though the score might not have showed it, he was the best player out there for the Fuel.
Princeler. That's my boy Dave Princeler.
He honestly, man, he was the best player in that first period. The numbers don't show it, but he was doing everything he could, and he kept them in the game. I mean, that game could have been a slaughter from the first. But you can't take away from the other side of it. Like,
no, I mean,
Magic's goalie, same thing. When the onslaught started happening with the Fuel, he stood on his head with beautiful saves.
So we had like I said, it was 5-4 was the final, with Motor City Magic taking the W in overtime over the Detroit Fuel. So now we're gonna head over to our second. No, we're actually just gonna go to T3A action right now, and we'll see the Columbus Heat taking on the Street Sharks from Lansing in the other semifinals. So this one was a really tight game. For whatever reason, it seemed like Columbus just did not come to play, on Sunday like they did on Saturday, because they came out flying Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, they added some new players. They added Dylan.
Yeah, a little chemistry. They need to build that up.
Yeah.
But from what I saw from Nasher's little, post that he did, because he does a little blurb every now and then, with his guys, that team's fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, they added. I don't want to kill my boy's last name, but they added Dylan, who
Adnan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dylan. I think Dylan played with the Growlers last season.
But he's on Heat now. He's a member of Heat now.
Yeah, because he's got a brother named Carter too, right?
And Carter plays for Magic. That's who I was just talking about. Carter was the story of the day. Like, let's say the way he played in net was amazing. But we're gonna talk about Dylan for a sec. They added Dylan. They added a couple other people, and he just looks like a different team this year for sure. I think I don't know what happened to him in the championships. We'll get there. But man, they played great. My boy Brian's back from his shoulder injury. He had a great outing. I think he scored their only 2 goals.
This is his first tournament back since he got injured in Indy when you were down there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you were there for that when he got hurt. I know I was.
I wasn't.
Because I was like, what is all the screaming for?
Oh, and trust me, I've been there. That's why I'm not playing right now. It does not feel good.
No, I remember getting back from Africa, jumping and doing a pickup game that week. Literally the week I got back on like a like a Tuesday. I was playing a drop-in game on Friday, and I got hit from behind. I separated my shoulder, so I went from a grade 1 AC shoulder separation to a grade 3 over the weekend. So I mean, it just predominantly got worse. So he was out for 6 months, and then this is, like I said, this was his first tournament back in my I know he was there for State Wars. So we had after one period, the score was still was knotted up at 1-1. With and then the Columbus Heat decided to chalk one more in the second and in the third periods to make the final 3-1. As Lansing just didn't have anything to answer for on that Columbus Heat. Now, like I said, that Columbus Heat team is super fast. They know how to control the puck, and they do play well when they can communicate, control that puck with that puck possession.
Well, like I said, adding the new players I think was a big thing for him. And I mean, it wasn't without controversy. I know the Heat's first goal. There was a little dispute between the Lansing netminder and the refs because he felt he got interfered by the goalie. I didn't see it. I mean, the Heat's player was getting pushed into the net, and he found the puck and got it in.
And there's nothing much you can do when that happens.
And then again, my boy Brian, he got the second goal. He was just all over the Sharks, man. They did not have an answer for him. He was just in those gritty areas, getting them goals. And Lane, their goaltender, he played great, man. That was one of the best performances I've seen out of him. I mean, clearly that was kind of like those first 3 games. He had to have a great performance. But for what I saw, because I was there Sunday, that was great goaltending from him.
So with the final being 3-1 in favor of the Columbus Heat beating the Lansing Street Sharks. Now we're going to move on to the other side of the bracket where the Great Lakes Growlers, they take on Top Shelf Hockey. So I don't know. I don't think Josh Hill's playing with Top Shelf Hockey this season or not. But that he was the team owner. I remember Josh from a while back in my playing days. So we got the Great Lakes taking on Top Shelf. We've got this Great Lakes Growlers team. I think they only let in 3 goals up to this point.
Yeah.
And this is their third. This is their third game. And so they, that's impressive.
And they were an impressive team to watch it apparently all weekend because I came in and I saw, because when you're at my hall, you have all those sheets up, right? And I saw their numbers and I'm like, that's insane.
It was insane. Like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you take away what they did in the championship game, so that you're just subtracting what they scored. I'm not going to say it just yet because I want to talk about that in a little bit. But they still had, 24 goals?
Something like that.
Yeah, 24 goals, and that includes the 5 that they chipped in on Top Shelf. Now, I will say the Great Lakes Growlers goaltender, Keith Chapman, played for me way back in the day, and that kid was phenomenal then, and he's only gotten better. And I am actually stoked to watch this kid play some more because I was just in love with the kid to begin with. I think he is a phenomenal tender, and he's probably going to be one of the best goaltenders in this league if they can keep their defense in front of him.
Yeah, easy.
So,
Easily.
so after one, it was 2-0. Which I think if we actually scroll back through the entire Growlers games, this was the lowest scoring first period that they ever had this weekend. And then in the second period it was 3-0, and then the final because they chipped in 2 more. It was 5-0 to bring us to our finals with the Columbus Heat here in a few. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors.
Frustrated and wasting time doing your own taxes? Getting confused by complex forms? Waste your time no longer. It's time for you to check out Bonus Accounting. Kenny and the team will help you with taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll services. Now that's an accounting hat trick. Leave it to the industry experts and check them out today. Use promo code Grove City Hockey for a sweet discount and also to receive exclusive GCH merch. Bonus Accounting, the firm of the future.
Welcome back. I'm Ben W. Stark, my tag team partner, Collin. How we doing, brother?
Doing good, buddy.
Cool. All right, so now we've got the T4B championships with the Detroit High Nooners taking on the Lansing Street Sharks. We've got the Lansing Street Sharks earned a bye to get into the finals based on their performance that they did on Saturday with the Detroit High Nooners beating out the Chicago Damage to make it to the finals of the T4B championships. So this first period between these two teams was really tight because it was 0-0.
Yeah.
Nobody could get anything going. There was no penalties. So, I mean, it was really just there was 2 penalties.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There was 2 penalties, both by the Lansing Street Sharks and both by the same guy.
That's what I was talking. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier because he took those 2 penalties, and like I said, if the Nooners could have capitalized on that, I think we're talking a different game. But they
absolutely.
But they couldn't make anything happen with it, unfortunately, and it's kind of the story of the game as we progress because I think Lansing ended up 53 on the Sharks. He ends up taking another penalty later, and I still don't think the Nooners found the back of the net on it.
Miser had a roughing call, and then he had an elbowing call, and then again he had a third penalty in the third period for hooking.
Yep.
You know, he's a hooker.
Yes.
So in the second period is finally when we started seeing some scoring. We saw the Lansing Street Sharks strike first, with Lee Miller. And then team captain Oakley Kowalski tied it up for the High Nooners. And then after that, Lee Miller said, "You know what? I'm gonna put the puck in the net one more time." And then Josh Murley with an assist from Jordan Bird. Bird with the assist. I love my Larry Bird. So Josh Murley ended the third period with to make it 3-1, and then in the third period, the High Nooners threw everything but the kitchen sink at the Lansing Street Sharks, because the Sharks gave them a couple of penalties, thanks to Justin, and it ended up being the final was 4-1 in favor of the Lansing Street Sharks. So your T4B championship champions was the Lansing Street Sharks. Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I give a lot of shout out to Nooners. They played a good game. If they can just find that confidence in the power play and get some more shots on net, I think you would have seen a very, very different game. You could just see the Sharks. They're just like we've talked about in previous episodes, and we talked about a little bit earlier, the Sharks don't go anywhere. They're just a really good, solid team that play well together. They have tremendous speed, great goaltending, and I'm not really surprised to see them go away with the championship either.
T4A action saw the Motown Knights taking on the Chicago Triple P. So if anybody knows what the Triple P stands for, let us know at Grove City Hockey LLC at gmail.com.
We'd be very appreciative of that because we want to know.
Yeah, definitely.
And if we can't air it, we won't. I just want to know for my own well-being. Just asking.
Ditto, man, ditto. But yeah, so the Knights taking on the Triple P. So after one, we saw a very, very, very tight game. No penalties in the first period, and it was the score was literally 1-1 after one.
And it wasn't, and it came close to Motown taking a quick lead at the end. A really bad turnover in front of the offensive zone, but goalie answered the call and stopped that breakaway chance from happening.
Oh, I love when the goalies can do that.
I love those epic moments. I just love those moments.
Yeah. So, and in the second period, there was zero action going on except for a penalty call. That looked like that was a tripping call. Happened real quick in the period within like the first 3 minutes of the game or of that second period. So then all of the scoring really came place because it's still tied 1-1. Really came into play in that third period. And let's take a look. See, so the Motown Knights answered back to tie it up at 2 with John Griffiths. I remember when John Griffiths played for the I think he played for the Mid-Michigan Saints, if I'm not mistaken. Or he might have played for one of the Chicago teams back in the day. He might have been playing for the Shamrocks or even Windy City at the Syndicate at that time, way back then. So Alex Gianchetto scored for the Triple P. John the Griffiths, because Griffiths played at MSU. I remember that vividly now. He's tied it back up to make the score 2-2. And then the Motown Knights got ahead, scored again to make it 3-2. And then Triple P scored just a few minutes later to tie it up. And this went down to the last second, and I mean last second.
Oh, yeah.
Where the Triple P chipped in. I wish I would have been there for this because it sounded like it was pretty impressive. Chipped in the final goal to make it 4-3 for your champions in the T4A division or bracket. It was 4-3.
Well, I know it's crazy because I think the exact amount of time with no goal scoring was around. Okay, I'm going to take that back a little bit, but just around 21 minutes. Like, there was nothing but just great goaltending, awesome defense. Because, like I said earlier, Triple P, man, their defense will lay down the body and get ready for it because you got to get around them somehow. But it was 21 minutes without any goal scoring happening. The floodgates opened. And
because you had the 2 goals in the first period. There were still like 9 minutes left to go in that first period, and then you didn't see any scoring until the last less than 7 minutes to go in that game.
Yeah.
So there it makes for an entertaining game to watch, and I actually can't wait to watch the replay of this.
Yeah, it's a game worth watching. I mean, they're all games worth watching, but it was a good game.
Some T3B action here. We got the Lockport Armada taking on the Motor City Magic, and we saw the Lockport Armada coming in at the number 3 seed, taking on the 5th seed Motor City Magic, and this right here is a prime example as to why you can have a terrible outing on Saturday and then come right back and dominate on Sunday. So after 1, you saw the score was 2-1 in favor of Motor City Magic. And it was you had the first goal was by Motor City. Then Lockport answered, and then under 3 minutes to go, Cameron Gee nodded it back or gave the 1-goal lead to the Motor City Magic, man. And then in the second period, you saw Lockport answer to tie it up real quick. I mean, like within under a minute in the second to tie it up at 2. And then all of a sudden, Lockport just said, "You know what? I'm going to start scoring some goals." Because they ended up scoring 3 goals in that period, whereas Motor City Magic could only, muster 2. So it was tied to 4s going into that, into that third period. And then it was all Motor City Magic in the third. They scored 3 goals. The Armada could only muster 1, with your final goal being scored by Lucas Hill, and he was assisted by your favorite name to say, by Carter Patnod. Carter is one heck of a goaltender too, by the way.
Oh, he's a great goaltender. He's fun to watch. I mean, he made some beautiful kick saves. I mean, the bench was the crowd was cheering for him. Definitely wanted to see him win. That's for sure. And the story of this game really comes down to just Armada just taking way too many penalties. They took a high sticking with blood being drawn on number 19 for Magic. He had blood gushing out of his lip. I think the last time I saw him of the day, he had a butterfly stitch on his lip. Like, it was a bad cut. And that's just kind of how it went for the most part. I think in the second period, Armada ended up taking some more penalties, and Magic just tried to feed off that, and they had it. They had the confidence going into the third, even though they might have came and tied it up. They just had it after that. Though you could just see the fire.
So your final was 7-5 in favor of the Motor City Magic. That Lockport Armada team just didn't have enough gas in the tank to keep up with that high energy that the Magic had.
No. And I'm happy they decided to change the name and not be another Knights. Because it's pretty much, it's a Knights team. They're calling themselves Magic now. They got some, I guess, new unis they're going to debut the next tournament they're at.
Cool.
Yeah, so
when you have like 5 teams named the Knights, it's probably in the league. It is nice to have some disparity or transparency.
Yeah, well, at some point, too, I think that's going to come down to the league itself too. Nothing against Carl; he's got his freaking hands full, I'm sure. But at some point, you got to be like, okay, you guys need to change your names. Like, someone's got to be something different.
Right. Well, even still, come at me with something different,
Well, if I looked at it, me personally, if I look at it and I see there's a bunch of Knights teams, I'm like, okay, we gotta change our name. We clearly gotta change it.
Well, and the same thing can be said for like the Windy City Syndicate, because they have a black team, they have a blue team, and they have a pink team, and they have a green team.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's entirely, but that's what it feels. That's what it feels like from a commentator, spectator standpoint now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now we're gonna move on to T3A action, and this game was an annihilation of epic proportions. I don't know if Columbus just ran out of gas.
I don't know.
Or they just ran into a buzzsaw. Because this is literally, I was watching the game at home, in my comfy home just a mile from Lake Michigan, and I saw the score was 8-1 with like a minute to go, and I went, I'd call the timeout if I was the coach, just to see if I could get that last goal in before the end of that first period. So this game got called real quick. because it was 8-1 after one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It looks like the score sheet may be a little wrong. Maybe I'm the one that's thinking of,
Let me just put it this way, and nothing against anybody here. I'm not trying to talk smack on anybody. I stopped taking game notes after 6-1.
Yeah.
Because there was just nothing. I mean, it's just literally, I don't know what happened to Heat because they had so much fire their first game of the day. I mean, they won both games Saturday, and they were coming in. They were coming in with, I felt, confidence when I was just talking to them and gabbing with them beforehand. And they seemed like they came out ready to play, but like you said, they ran to a buzzsaw. They really did. Yeah. Growlers. And the thing is, Growlers just like, we're here. It's championship. It's our first. It was their first weekend, right? For my home?
No, they played last year, but this was their first tournament
this season. Yeah, I think they were just on such a high that they were like, nah, it's ours. And you could just see it in the goaltender and in the Heat team. At a certain point, they gave up. They gave up.
Yeah, so now if we look at the stat sheet, it does say that it made it to the third period. I don't think that, if my memory serves me correct, I thought it was over after the second, or into the second period.
I thought it was quick into the second.
Yeah, and it was quick, and it was like in the first minute.
It was quick. It literally, like I said, I just feel like Heat were just like, we don't have an answer right now, or something, and they just said nah.
But like I said, we'll go off of the stat sheet here. So after one period, it looked like it was 3-1. Then 5 more goals in the second, and then 1 more goal in the third. It was only 26 seconds in the third period.
What?
When they finally got that. Yeah, that's what the stats say here. I'm thinking, like, from my memory, just from watching it on Sunday. I thought
it was done in the second. I could have sworn it was done in the second.
Yeah, I thought it was, done. I thought they had it was 8-1 after one is what I thought.
I don't know if it was that bad. I don't know if it was that.
No, it's that bad because Columbus scored with a minute to go with a power play.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. So they scored with a minute to go in the first. So you had Jaren scoring scored the first goal. Bradley scored the second goal. Russ scored the third goal. Then the Heat scored. And then it was just all Great Lakes Growlers after that. We had Sean Walby, chalking in a goal. Steven Nisbet. Jaren throwing in another one. Bradley throwing in another one. Sean throwing in another one. And then the final, like I said, literally came in 26 seconds in that third period.
Maybe even I kind of really stopped paying attention. There's a complete possibility because, like I said, you knew very early just by watching the game it was Growlers. I mean, you knew it.
Oh, they were doing passing plays like this team had been playing together for years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they were just all over them.
No look, drop pass, and Columbus just looked like they were just out of place that whole game.
Like what I said, which is just so weird because they came out so hot those first 3 games, and I just don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe it was the nerves of being in the championship. I don't know what happened to them. It just wasn't watching the same team. It wasn't. I mean, again, give it to them for getting there, but you ain't ever going to win a championship if you play like that.
Sometimes you just don't have an answer. That's why on paper, I actually probably would have gone the other way with this game. But that's why you play these games.
Yep.
Because you just don't know who's going to show up and who's not going to show up. Jaren brought in a couple of guys that knew how to play the game well with him and his guys, and they showed him why.
Probably gonna ask him back then.
Absolutely. And again, if it wasn't for Chapman and Nat, I don't think these guys would have had a chance. So the Chicago event's coming up this weekend. We've got teams participating. We've got the Chicago Triple P, Windy City Syndicate Black, Windy City Pigeons, Chi-Town Shamrocks, the Mary Pats of Chicago Mary Pats, the Iowa Leaf Rays, Indian Line, Cincinnati Roller Dactyls, Active Stick Hockey, and Chicago Hitmen, along with the Windy City Syndicate. Both of these guys, there's T3 and T4 team in action.
Yep. Well, that makes sense. Chicago weekend being heavy Chicago teams.
Oh yeah, just like the Detroit teams are heavy Detroit teams.
Yep. Well, I mean, unfortunately too, we won't be making our way out there for broadcasting, unfortunately. But you know, these things happen. It's hard to make every single one.
Well, it's tough when it's like an extra, 4 or 5 hour drive for you guys.
Yeah, it's a haul. It's a haul. And plus, then you don't got as many teams either. So.
What's that?
And plus, there's not as many teams either.
Yeah, no, there's only 11 teams in this one. We'll have 2, 4, 6, 8 teams in T4. You'll have 2, 4, 5 teams in T3. Yeah. So that's really all you see, going on.
Yeah. Well, hey. Well, good luck to all these teams. I'm interested to see who comes out on top. See where the standings are afterwards. So. Yeah. I mean, I think that about covers everything we have to talk about right now, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah, I think so. I think this that'll be a wrap for episode 3.
Yeah.
Talking on Grove City Hockey Podcasts. We want to thank our sponsors, and I just want to say thanks to my tag team partner Collin for staying up this late and being patient with me.
Hey, it's all right, buddy. I get it. Family life.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Grove City Hockey on your YouTube channel or on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Drop us a comment. Let us know. Email us at grovecityhockeyllc.com. And stay tuned for episode 4 where we will talk about my Chicago event and the East Coast Roller Hockey Association League that you guys are going to be covering right there in your neck of the woods.
Yep, it's being played. Well, it will have been played at our home rink. It's going down at the Y. Yep, it's going down right at the Y. Yep. So it's our rink. It's going to be nice for the boys to not have to travel as far. I won't be there, unfortunately. I'm going out of town the weekend of this. But hopefully you guys have watched it because we're going to be talking about it.
Cool. Yeah, hopefully we can knock out the podcast early in the week so that way it drops pretty quickly. So that way we can get moving on forward. Collin, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm pretty good, buddy. We got content in the cooking for you guys. I know all the boys are working hard to give you guys some enjoyable content, so be on the lookout. Like he said, like and subscribe.
Yeah, and then we got, and then I think our next broadcast will be in November, right around opening day of deer season.
Yep.
So we'll make sure you guys stick around and get as much content as we can for you guys to enjoy watching.
Hey, how many times are we going to say content?
That's what I said, content.
Content. We've probably said content like 100 times. So thanks for watching, everybody.
We appreciate it. We love you. Cheers.
Love you guys. Bye.